already as we are running much late. So next, I will like to call upon Mr. Rajiv Bhattacharya for having industry landscape and we march towards the excellence. So please welcome Mr. Rajiv Bhattacharya, the VP Strategy and Projects, V Trans India Limited.
So very good morning to all of you, and it's a pleasure to be here. And today I'm basically going to talk about the overall industry landscape, how the industry is today, primarily from the road transportation part of it, which is the most complex and also a very diverse field we have today of the road transportation. So I'm going to take you through that. With some numbers will be there. Of course, numbers are always debatable, but these are various sources of research which has been done over a period of the last few years. With this data we have compiled and try to show you that how the whole industry looks like. Moving forward, we'll also talk about what are the initiatives the government has done, what are the initiatives which the industry has done from different digitalization of the whole sector, and then how, as a VTrans, we are taking this journey forward and how are we marching towards the next few years in our roadmap. So we have talked about a lot in terms of the digitization of the logistic industry, and also we talked about the cost part of it. And if you see the overall growth which is going on in this sector is hovering about 9 to 11%. Different reports are talking from 9% to 11% kind of a range, which this industry is growing. And of course, the supply chain or the logistic industry has been quite traditional, which is moving towards more segmented, more focused approach towards different segments of the industry, different requirements of the customers. But still, a huge portion of the business is still unorganized or defragmented. And if you see in terms of the logistic cost which we talk about, there again numbers are being different numbers are coming out from different reports, which was around 13-14%, which came out in 2021 kind of a report which came out, and that was a big shocker to all of us because 13-14% is a huge cost, and recently it's a very good news that NCR has come out with a report as late as 17th of December, where they have quoted the actual logistic cost is just about 8%, 7.8 to 8.9% of the GDP. Now again, this number is very, very encouraging because this puts us to a very different league in the global standards. Because when you're talking of other countries like Germany, we are talking of Japan, where it ranges from 6% to 8%. I think we are there. We are stepping towards that direction. And again, these data are different researches, as I said, is coming out. These data are different ways they are taken. For example, if you take Indian sector, Indian overall GDP, which constitutes service sector as a major portion, which is increasing to about 45%, 48% now. So that, of course, is also a component of the logistic cost, which is getting reduced because service sectors doesn't have as such a logistic cost. So overall, if you see, there is a reduction in the cost because of the various government initiatives, the various implementation of the various plans which we talked about just now. So a lot of these are actually helping in terms of reducing the overall logistic cost. And so there has been government initiatives, there have been private sector initiatives which have been done by various companies to reduce this overall cost, ultimately benefiting the customers and the country at a large. And of course, the different NLP we talked about, National Logistic Platform, where we talked about reducing the logistic cost below 8%. And of course, as Mr. Mahendra Shah talked about, that employment is, we are the second largest employment generator in this sector. So these are various positive things which we are talking about the overall logistics sectors today. Now, if you talk about the market size, now this market we are talking 2023 is about $288 billion. So it's quite a large industry we are talking about. This includes the entire fraternity of the local transportation, which is done within the country. Now, if you talk about the total of this total size, the growth is about 8%, roughly the growth is we are talking about, and the projected growth is about 9%, which is coming out from various research. One of also important came out is 13.7% growth is happening in the air sector as well, because the airlines sector is growing. Number of airports are increasing, the smaller towns are getting connected. That's also increasing the overall the air transportation as well. And of course, we talk about the road transportation, as said by Mr. Forgot the name, sorry. So 66% is road transport out of the total logistic cost which is going on. Yes, sorry. And of course, today you talked about the grocery. Singapore, we don't have Singapore, we don't have grocery, but you see 33% is coming from retail and wholesale trade. So that's how the whole landscape is changing today of the logistic industry. In terms of the different composition, how the growth has been happening in this sector. So I will not go into the numbers, but just a representation. So we talked about 40% of the logistic cost comes only from transportation. So this is a breakup in terms of the transportation cost, warehousing cost, the inventory, and order processing and admin cost. So 6% of GDP goes into the overall transportation. So if you see the whole domestic distribution is basically distributed into 4 parts or 4 types of movements which happens. First is the CEP, we call it the courier, express and parcel. CPE or CEP, both nomenclature are used. So this is primarily parcel, express and the courier market. So overall this market is about 18 billion. Out of that, if you talk only the express market is about 4.8 billion US dollars. The part truckload, which is again quite a significant part, is about $15 billion market. Full truckload, the major portion is about 120 billion. And of course, we have the e-commerce, which is constantly increasing, and this will actually grow faster than the other segment because there's about 3.5 billion we're talking. Hyperlocal is estimated about 3.7. This is also growing at a very fast pace. Of course, we are not taking online aggregators or on-demand services because that's a slightly different market. So we are not taking that. But primarily, if the e-commerce is taken, it's still about $7 billion is coming out from this e-commerce. So if you see the distribution between this road transportation, so 1% is air, ocean is about, and inland water is about 8%, rail is 26%, and 65% is through the surface. And within the 65%, 11% is through part truckloads, 3% is commerce, and 86% is still FTL business. And of course, in terms of the different behavior of this different industries, so many of them are fragmented, there are entry barriers which are there, and of course, the asset models are different in PTL and an express model. Now, in terms of the PTL, PTL is a very unique mixture of FTL, come express, come. Sorry? Yeah. So there's a mixture of the business which is there in the PTL. It's a very uniquely designed product which has actually graduated over a period of many, many years. And slowly there's a lot of diminishing differentiations which are actually diminishing between an express and a PTL, because the customer demands are changing. The behavior of customers are more asking for end-to-end door deliveries. They're asking for more online tracking. So most of these PTL companies are actually digitizing their whole chain, and they are trying to give almost the similar what an express company is able to give. So a lot of digitization work is going on in the PTL segment. And because they have to now cater to various demand, customers are asking for online integration of e-way-bills, e-invoicings to be made. So all those requirements have to capture with the digitization effort of for the PTL business. So a lot of behavioral change also happened because of the GST and the e-way bill scenario which came in. So of course, because of that, a lot of integration has to be done at the back end so that the overall flow of information is happening as per the requirement. So the PTL business is, the $15 billion business is actually now transforming in a big way, and nothing better to have this conclave where we are talking about smart technologies to build these kind of businesses to the next level. This is also a little bit of the market sizing. If you see, the $11 billion is a total part of this business, $11 billion. And if you see in terms of the organized players, there are only 4% business coming from the organized players. Rest, about 9% is from the regional or the interstate players. This is on the volume-wise. Value-wise, slightly different. 9% is from the national or organized players, and 14% is from the regional and the small players. And primarily, they are distributed in terms of the national level players, regional players, lane-specific players, point-to-point players, and within the state players. So 5 different categories of PTL players which are there. And that's how this overall the overall business becomes pretty interesting, because there's a lot of scope to improve upon and move into the different segments of the business. So the government initiated some of them, of course, we talked about. So Sagarmala project, which is part of the master plan, Bharatmala Pariyojana, which is also the master plan. The digitization initiative which has been happened through the various streamlining of customs clearance and the e-way bills and GST portals which you have seen. And we talked about the ULIP as well. Professor talked about the ULIP platform. Now this is a wonderful platform. There are 8 ministries which are connected with this platform. And there are APIs which are given to connect with different functionalities, like we have Sarthi, we have Vahan, we have FASTag, FOS is there, and ER cargo system. So these are the main systems which you can get connected, where you can track the entire movement of your shipments and get the credibility of all this, the vehicles, the drivers. The best use case is when we go for market hire of trucks, because when you have the peak demands, you need market trucks, you need additional trucks. Now, earlier we never had this one to check the vehicle. Today we have the facility to check the vehicle whether the insurance is okay, because the paper can always be fudged when the document is given. But through this portal, we know when the insurance is getting lapsed, how many years old the vehicle is there any blacklisting of that vehicle? As of now, the make and the capacity is not being given by ULIP, but hopefully that also should come. If that comes in, we get the right capacity of the vehicle and also the make of the vehicles. Now the advantage here is, once you get the capacity and the make, you can actually link it for your carbon emissions. Because then you get the right sizing, the right this one, where you can put the tonnage in terms of the carbon emission tonnage, what is being emitted by that particular vehicle type, and that can be linked for reporting at a consignment level. So we our backend is already developed for that. Once we get that information, we should be able to produce the carbon emission norms at a consignment level. And then, of course, e-way bill, there are few e-way bill informations are also given through ULIP. It's a very basic information, but of course, we have a much higher integration through a third party where we get the entire e-way bill information, as well as the e-way bill updation of the e-way bills are being done automatically. So in the digitization part, as we talked about, of course, with the NLP, there's been a lot of emphasis on the digitization of the logistics. Toll payments are a big boon for us because the electronic toll payment controls the entire movement, plus the tracking of the vehicles is available. E-way bill online integration has been a breakthrough thing for the companies like us. And mind you, the government is also so strong nowadays, they come back to you and say, hey, your shipment is lying there for so many days. You are extending the e-way bill 5 times. They come back and they ask you, what's happening? Why you're not delivering? So the government has also become, the departments have become very intelligent, and that also helps us. So once the department starts chasing us that why you're holding shipment for 10 days, if a customer has not taken a delivery. So we are under pressure that we have to deliver as fast as possible because, again, GST team can come and ask why it's not being delivered. So that's the level of automation which is happening today. We talked about AI and machine learning. I'll not talk much about this at this moment because these are evolving technologies. Lot of work is still being happening on these sectors, primarily for the road transport. But huge use cases are there for AI and ML. Transparency and, of course, the future trends which are there. So what exactly we as VTrans have been doing? So once we analyze the whole thing, that if we have to really grow, if we have to really exponentially grow in the ambition of the country, so what all we need to do? So we talked about all these things, the collaboration, the team, the service excellence, aggressive sales, and then capitalize on our brand equity and our infrastructures. But the most important thing we felt is technology, which will play a major role going forward. And looking into that, we have created a center of excellence. And this service center of excellence is basically, we call it as Innovex. So it's an innovation and excellence. So both we are clubbed together and we made this platform as Innovex, which is primarily a center of excellence where we primarily talk about the entire digitization, what we have to do in the organization, the entire service excellence which we have to drive within the organization, and of course make the organization prepared for the future. So when we talk about technology, of course the SOP and process adherence and build it into the system, building on the controls and the monitoring process which is required, digitization of the first mile and the last mile, because that's where your starting and ending is happening. So this digitization is mandatory. And mind you, these are not easy things. In a B2B scenario, these are not easy because traditionally it's never been done. Traditionally, our people will take out the docket from or a GC from the bag, write it with hand. So that has to be digitized. And then again, the behavior in terms of delivery, where the delivery has to happen through a mobile app. So these are the different technologies which are being already done. We have already done in 2 of our divisions, VExpress and Ecom. We have already done this. So now VTrans, we are getting into the first mile and last mile digitization. Along with the shop floor automation. Now, this is not just barcode, but also in terms of location identifier where the shipment is kept. So what we do is we mark on the floors also the barcodes based on which you can actually track where the shipment has been kept. And of course, training and development are very continuous process within the organization. On the engineering part, we are deploying new ERP systems with the latest tech stacks. We are creating a central command center, which is a combination of a control tower and OCC, Operation Control Center. We are putting in new technologies for better control. So various modules are being put into the overall organization to adapt to different other requirements of different departments and the functions. Better visibility through IoTs. So different IoTs are being used. We'll talk about the command center, the kind of IoTs we are trying to integrate. And of course, ML and AI deployment. Now, we have digital data for over, I think 20 years, 20 plus years we have digital data because we have digitized sometime in 85. So rather more than that, 35 years of data we have. So much of data we have, our machine learning can be much, much easier. So we are working on machine learning platforms where we can actually do a lot of predictive analysis in terms of the overall network, the delivery schedules, in terms of the seasonalities of the business. So those things are getting predicted, can be predicted through this. These are still under development, but hopefully we should be able to come to some kind of a usable model very soon. These are not easy things to adopt because customers doesn't pay for it. So, but it is for our efficiency, we have to do this because this is what the future is. What happened? Sorry. Then of course, in terms of the service excellence part, we are creating a complete data center. I'll talk about a little bit more. Network optimization is something which is a continuous process. We do it. We have different optimization models for mid-mile, for last mile, for our overall network of our hubs and branches. So we use these models to identify the optimal usage of the network in terms of the cost and the service levels. Both we match it and then we decide which is the best network. And then in terms of vendor management and procurement system, just to give you an idea, we do about 40 crores worth of procurement of market trucks every month. And this is typically pretty manual at this moment. We have done some digitization already to that extent where we are using 3 codes from the online module, but still the predictive part is not coming. So we are now working on the predictive analysis in terms of the market vehicle, what will be the procurement kind of a rate at any given point of time because of the seasonality which is attached to it. And then we are trying to make it the entire central command also for this procurement so that we have a huge benefit in terms of the overall spend we do. And of course, as an organization, we have taken a plan in terms of growing exponentially in the next 3 years. Of course, we are going to add some new products or new business lines into our company. And of course, customer remains the core of our strategy. So whatever we do, customer remains the core and we revolve around the customer's requirement. And of course, to take all this, very important that you have to prepare the organization. So organization has to be taken up to the next level to take this different initiatives because these are all good to have kind of thing, but then if people don't use it, there's no use. For example, even if I see today, GPS data are available, but how much of GPS data actually are we using? So if you don't use that, there's no point in investing in technology, and technology doesn't come cheap. Anything you want to touch in a technology is a cost. You are part of that, you know. Anything you want to touch in technology is a huge cost. And if it is not used, then there's no point in putting this technology. And mind you, we are 80% of our staff are blue-collared. We are not a white-collar company. We are a blue-collared company primarily. So 80% of our staff has to use that. So putting them on the training, putting them under that concept of the usage of these technologies become very critical to get the best out of these technologies. Okay, I'll just skip about. So I'll go to the little more, this will give you a little more. So what we are trying to do is we are creating a complete data management system. Now, as I said, the data are huge. We do about, put together in the company, we do about 4.5 lakh transactions per month. Number of articles is close to about 20 crores. So that's the size of data we manage. And once you want to pull in intelligent data, intelligent reports, it takes you time. It takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour to fetch the data. So what we have done is we are trying to create an entire data lake where the data from different sources are coming into the lake. And from the lake, we are creating data warehouse. So for different use cases, we create different data warehouses. And from these data warehouses, we create data marts. Now, data mart is like lake, you can say, is the factory. Warehouse is a warehouse. Mart is a store where you go and pick up your stuff. So the data mart actually channelizes the entire data into different use cases, what is required. And just to give you more example how it is done. So this is how the data structure gets in a very simple manner. From the different systems like ERP systems, the CRM tools, Oracle, the financial tool, transport management system, everything comes to a central data warehouse from where the data marts are created for MIS, for different MIS, because everything cannot be put on a dashboard. You still require Excel sheets to churn the data. Then it goes to the different BI tools, the different dashboards which we create. Then the entire optimization is run on the back end. So different algorithms which we have put for the optimization is run on the back end. And then this data is actually brought in to the front end in the transport management system to control the movement of trucks, control the movement of within the warehouses, so that we have a controlled environment which the system is suggesting. And then any exception data, for example, if a truck is not moving for 4 hours and is standing on the road, so that exception data will come here, immediately action will be taken, task management will be generated, and from there, the entire activity will start. So this is the operation, the command center, which we are creating now. So this is the central operation command center where the entire CCTV feeds will be coming from all the places. There are close to about 8,000 CC cameras across our different facilities. The fire systems which are there, access controls wherever we are putting in the warehouses, the GPS feeds, and then the exception reports which are coming from the transport management system. Everything gets integrated into the control tower. And from there, the task management is created on the exceptions. And then with the different escalation levels, the task management will be controlled. So this is under preparation. This is a very big project. It is every part of it is a project in itself. So we are integrating all these projects together. So this should be ready by next year. We should be ready with this control tower. And once it is ready, I think it will be definitely one of the best control tower in the country. So ladies and gentlemen, it all started from Gujarat and for Gujarat. So our company originated in Gujarat, and it was started by legendary Mr. K.K. Shah, who started this company in 1958 with 2 offices and 1 truck. Very humble beginning, and because of his services, because of his dominance within the Gujarat, it expanded to Maharashtra. And it was the main link between Maharashtra and Gujarat. And even today, we are one of the pioneers or one of the leading players within Gujarat and Gujarat, Maharashtra. However, and within Gujarat, if we talk about, we have a team of over 1,000+ people working only in Gujarat. We were the first to offer services into the Saurashtra and Kutch region. We connected Kutch into the whole country and rather the world because port was also in Mumbai that time. We have branches in all the 31 districts out of 33 districts in Gujarat. Extensively we are present within Gujarat. And we have over 7 lakh square feet of warehousing space available in Gujarat for our transshipment operations, plus warehousing as well. So that's the level of depth we have in Gujarat as a company. And of course, what started in 1958 with 2 branches has come this journey long way of 65 years of excellence and different stages of growth which has happened for the company. And if we talk today, so we are a 1500 crore plus group, 1000 plus branches across the country, covering almost about 16,500 pin codes. 90 million articles we carry every month, and 2 million tons is what we carry in terms of weight. We have 1.5 million plus square feet of warehousing space across the country. Dedicated 2,500 plus trucks plying across the country which are GPS enabled. We are ISO 9000 certified, 3,300 plus people working. These are full-time employees. We serve about 1 lakh customers every year. And of course, we are a certified great place to work. So that's the history of VTrans, and all this happens because of our values, which are to be passionate, be reliable unconditionally, be a visionary, be human, and be ethical. And one of the most important things about our group is be ethical, and that's where we have been able to flourish in the last 65 years, because if you're not ethical, I don't think companies like this last long. So these are the main 3 divisions which we have. VTrans, which is primarily LTL, PTL, FTL, ODC, and trailer movements we do. We have tailor-made operation solutions, and of course, quite a tech-enabled infra we have. V-Express is a complete end-to-end express cargo movement where we have a door-to-door, 100% door-to-door movement with multimodal surface and air, this one. We do a lot of e-commerce deliveries to the Amazons and Flipkarts of the world. So we know their intricacies of the business, and we manage their deliveries for them. For their warehouses, we do the deliveries. And of course, we have all large brands you can talk of using V-Express, right? Starting from the shirt you are wearing to the shoes you are wearing, we carry under the VA, or the watches you wear, we carry. In 3PL, V-Logis is the division where we do 3PL and warehousing, where we give customized solutions to different customers for their third-party operations. And all this put 3 together, it's a complete integrated solution we can provide to customers, or we provide to customers wherever they need it. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I had to share with you. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll try to answer if possible.
So we can take a Q&A offline.
Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Rajiv Bhattacharya, the VP Strategy and Projects VTrans India Limited, for all the discussion. Well, further, I will request for the panel discussion for the automation and digitalization in warehousing and material handling. So I will request 2 panel to come on the stage. I will request moderator Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty, the founder of Samvi High Fresh Foods Private Limited, panelist Mr. Nandesh Shukla, the Deputy Chairman of Deen Dayal Port Authority, Mr. D.P. Bamnawat, IRS, the Additional Commissioner of Kandla Customs, Mr. Madhvendra Singh, the CEO of Gujarat Maritime Cluster, and Mr. Manoj Kothari, the Head Supply Chain of Jiders. Welcome. Please welcome the panelists on the stage with the moderator Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty, the founder of Samvi High-Fresh Fruits Private Limited. I will welcome all the panelists on the stage. Please welcome all the panelists on the stage. Of Deen Dayal Port Authority. Further, I will request to welcome Mr. Dev Prakashji Bamnawat, the IRS Additional Commissioner of Kandla Customs. I will call upon Mr. Ravi Jain, the founder member of Indian Chamber of Commerce, to come on the stage and to welcome Mr. Dev Prakashji Bamnawat. Further, I will call on Mr. Bhavesh Ambani, the MD of Ambani Ceramic Industries Morbi and the founder member of Indian Chamber of Commerce, to welcome Mr. Madhvendra Singh, the CEO of Gujarat Maritime Cluster. I will call upon stage Mr. Ganesh Gupta, the Senior Executive or Spare Parts Manager of Mercedes. Will welcome Mr. Manoj Kothari, the Head Supply Chain of Jiders Wellness. I would call upon stage Mr. Nitin Vikharia, the owner of SK Logistics Company, Gujarat. He will welcome Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty. Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty, the founder of Samvi High-Fresh Foods Private Limited. Thank you so much, sir, and I welcome all the panelists for the discussion of automation and digitalization in warehousing and material handling. Further, I will call upon moderator Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty, the founder of Samvi High-Fresh Fruits Private Limited, for further discussion. Further in this, I will welcome our the guest, Mr. Mukesh Bhai Kundaria, the President of Tiles Association of Morbi Industries, will be welcomed by D.K. Agrawal, the Chairman of ICC, that is India Chamber of Commerce. I will call Mr. Bharat Gupta, the conveyor of ICC, that is Indian Chamber of Commerce, will welcome Mr. Rajendra Nagarji.
And let's lighten the things a little bit. We are talking of supply chain and we are talking of smart supply chain. And I love the word smart because that's important. And Shukla ji told बड़े सरलता से और सहजता से कि प्यार से आपने जो बोला, you know, it was impressive because simplicity and smartness are run together. Or we had panel people here who came and spoke about China, about different things. I was born in Arunachal Pradesh and China does not give me visa to enter. It gives me a permit. They say that I'm Chinese and I disagree and fight with them. Having said that, let's lighten it up with a joke to start with. So I had some Chinese friend in JP Morgan and we used to run this joke. All of us know that whatever the best brand you have, and if you want a copy of it, where do you need to go? China. Okay. Originals are here, okay. And Mr. Mishra also told that we were ahead of Chinese economy for quite some time. and then there were difference, and they moved ahead. But coming from a NDA Navy background also, and since I've got another friend here from Navy, for us it is always like battle won, battle lost. War is never lost. The war is on, and we are on, sir, and we are sure we'll get it through. And let's go to the joke now. So I told this Chinese friend of mine that there was a big order of making 10 lakh shoes of a big brand, copy a big brand of US, and it was given to a Chinese company. So they said that give us sample. If you give us sample, we'll exactly make it same as that. And there was this sample which was sent, and there were 10 samples, different sizes and all that. And in that, one of the shoe, while packing, somebody by mistake had put a board pin in that. So the sample went to China, and China made the final consignment and exported it. And can you believe that out of 10 lakh shoes, 5 lakh shoes had a pin in it? Okay, so that is as far as the China and Chinese logic goes. And coming back to, and that's why the smart thing is important, right? And as far as we understand that so much of supply chain you do, smartness is important. And in supply chain, we have to, like we have heard about 3P, PL and all that, we have to come out of 3D also. And for me, the 3D is different from the 4D, which Professor Thakkar told. In supply chain, we have procurement, then aggregation, segregation, then delay, and delivery. So we have to take away that 3D, and a lot have been spoken about that. Now, let me introduce quickly the esteemed panel I have. We have here Mr. Nandish Shukla, who is Deputy Chairperson, Deen Dayal Port, and I'm privileged to be sharing the stage with him. And it's very interesting to know, we have got policy makers here, we have got people who are in government, who are taking decisions, and we have also got Mr. D.P. Bamnawat, he is Additional Commissioner, Andhra Customs, and Mr. Madhavendra Singh also is in Gujarat cluster, and he is the one who's pioneered India's global shipping hub, the first maritime cluster. These are all big achievements in itself. And then we have from corporate Mr. Manoj Kothari, who heads supply chain for Zydus. The interesting thing is that as we run through this panel, I'll try to bring out that what are the things that are takeaways for all of us. See, I'm sure we all have gone to many conferences like this, right? And we just need to, we always have few takeaways which we take from the conference. And that is why you will hear some words which are oft spoken and oft misused. And to give a perspective, I first questioned myself that why am I called by ICC for this? And then it brought me to what is definition of supply chain. So supply chain is movement of goods, data and finances for any product and services. So I realized that there are two products which have been moved with me. One is me, myself, wherever I have moved as a product or giving some services. The other is that where I spent a lot of time in JP Morgan, we were handling money and we were in the business of trust. And as I see supply chain, it builds trust, right? And as I was listening to all the esteemed speaker before me, one thing I realized that whatever we are talking in terms of number of transactions, number of correct transactions, it all happens best in a place where systems and processes are evolved. And systems and processes are interestingly evolved in banking the most. And that is why when automation happened, or when we talk about payment systems, payment gateways, please understand the systems, processes in Indian banking were superior to the world banking. And I'm telling this like 20 years back also, Indian banking systems and processes were superior to what we had in global banks. Okay, many of the systems, I'm not telling all. And that is why the part where you saw the digitization impact, it became better in terms of AI or machine language or blockchain in banking, and everything comes from the banking window first. And this is the message I'm giving to all people who are in government, that if you want to have a quick thing on anything on blockchain or artificial intelligence in supply chain as well, I think going to banking systems and processes which have been there 30 years back in global arena, getting people from there is a good input to get that how huge transactions are done and how blockchain, and just taking 30 seconds from all of you, blockchain is nothing but a singular path of doing a work, which is traceable. That's it, simple. And Shukla ji, saralta aapse सीखी है, that's it. That's blockchain, nothing else. And cryptocurrency is a small micro subset of blockchain. And blockchain can be used in everything that we do. Okay, Mr. Bhattacharya just spoke before, and we're talking of transactions. I also spoke to my friend here who told about 14.5 lakhs. Do you know what is the daily transactions of a bank like JP Morgan? 8 trillion. 8 trillion transactions a day. So why are we not going there, understanding the systems there, so that we can scale up our transactions in that way? Okay. So what happens is that we will not have to reinvent a lot of the things which is already there, and that's one message, and that's what I'm trying to do, is that through this 1 hour of discussion which we'll have, can we have 1 or 2, 3 simple takeaways for us, that when we go to our businesses and implement whatever we learn from here, we are using it in a very simple and understandable way. Like Mr. Bhattacharya's one of the slide was very powerful, which the meaning I don't know if one could understand. In PCL, what I saw is that the value is much more than the volume in percentage terms, which means PCL is the way to go. And that messaging, and that's important, like in 45 minutes of what he spoke, for me that one slide was very powerful. Everything was important, but that one slide was powerful from a commonsensical point of view for any entrepreneur, that PCL is the way to go. And sirs, all in maritime and shipping and all, you'll be surprised to know there are some ports which do not give part container exporting. And this is my personal pain, but I thought that it's good to share. But in terms of value, what his slide showed is that part container or part shipment is a very interesting thing to move ahead with. Why it was not being able to do? Because we could not segregate it. But with technology, we can do it better. And that's the beauty, and that brings us to the topic of digitization, of optimization of warehousing and material handling processes. Now, a lot of things are happening, and for all of the friends here and for the panelists, one of the system which I would like everybody to at least go and dabble with is Manhattan supply chain management system. I don't know if anybody heard about Manhattan supply chain management system. If not, then I think that's great, because this which I've given you is something for you to go and research. I mean, in one forum we cannot have everything, but I would like everybody to understand that in warehouse management system, and the most latest technology system where it is beating likes of Oracle, SAP and everything, is Manhattan supply chain management system. And this is endorsed by my better half, who is actually a supply chain specialist. She's global head for Schneider in supply chain analytics, and she said that Manhattan is the next thing which is in there. So that's my gift to my friends in Gujarat, that let's go and find out what it is. Now coming to the panelists, the way I would like to go about this panel is that let's have 2-3 minutes of everyone's views and vision on how warehouse digitization, warehouse management can be augmented with technology, with the recent things. And while doing that, I would like those who are into policy making and arbitration, like Madhavendra has got a unique skill set. And I'm telling you, mark this conference. 5 years from now, everybody will be talking what Madhavendra is talking. Because coming from supply chain of money, which is bank, I can tell you that contracts, arbitration, laws, settlement, these are the things which are going to be the only impediment. You see, today, if I have to have a supply chain, a blockchain, what it brings about is transparency. And Madhavendra was telling that, we have to open our data. It is like going to a doctor and telling that I'll not open my shirt. what blockchain does or what artificial intelligence does is that it opens up everything, right? And specialists will make the best way for us, best solution for us. Now, in while each one is speaking, and especially Madhavendra, like I'd like you to spend time on that arbitration bit and the bit on contracts which are going to come. And all this is going to come to us as tsunami in 2-3 years time when suddenly the world is digitized and we are also, like in the race. So these things are very critical. So I would like each one, maybe start from Mr. Kothari to start and say 2 minutes on how you think that on warehouse management system and on material handling and in the future for green sustainable energy and all that, how do you see the use of technology in supply chain management? Thanks.
Apologies, I'm running some cold, so I'm carried. I represent Zydus Wellness, and the moment Zydus name comes, people talk about pharma. So first thing, I'm not from pharma. We are a pure FMCG company. Our turnover will be 2,300, 2,400 crores with the iconic brands like Sugar Free, Conclave, Glucon-D, Maxi, Everloop, Nucleotide, etc. So it's an FMCG company. Before I go to the smart supply chain and warehousing and all, it is a subset of supply chain. Let me go back a little bit. Somebody asked, people talk about Amazon, and somebody asked Bezos that where are you going to invest? Uh, so he said that, and 10 years, how do you see Amazon? So he said that I'm going to invest in things which are not going to change. So 10 years from now, my customer is not going to say that you give me delayed delivery or you give me at a higher cost. So whatever my investment is there, that will go in a thing that are not going to change. And Mr. Mohani talked about something. So there is a recent book from Norman Housel, Same as Ever. So I think from industry perspective and a customer perspective, we all are customers in e-commerce. I mean, we get deliveries of 10 days, 7 days, 1 day, 2 hours, 15 minutes. But we also want, good quality product. And as a business, let me tell you, our motive is very simple. That's a customer delight. Whatever product we make, and customer delight in terms of the quality, in terms of the quantity, in terms of the delivery. So, coming back to the topic of the smart supply chain, I think supply chains are becoming physical. So the word is combination of physical and digital. So we plan digital and we execute physical. I mean, finally the goods needs to be, we are not the e-commerce company or something. The goods should be in the customer's hand. So supply chains are digital, and in terms of entire planning piece of supply chain, even the measurement. So Mahendra talked about the two ends, measuring and the managing, but there is a third element in between, that's monitoring. So all the measurement should be automated. Okay, that's the base of it. The monitoring, so the report which we make day in, day out by some people, MIS report and all, that are also needs to be automated. And last part comes as a manager, and we are managers at different levels in our organization. We manage it. So what we do is we make a decision, and decision is always a data element, but does the decision. So while we talk about, a lot of people have talked about the AI and all, let us not forget the digital part of it where the managers are going to make a decision. So I mean, different facets of supply chain, little bit, abstract thinking, but coming back to the talk of warehouse automation, and a lot of is being talked about the same. And before my get profile, I was living in US in my earlier company for a few years. And let me tell you from an India perspective, warehouse automation, I have contacted you. One should need to look at the cost they are incurring and the benefit they are getting out of that automation. Because India labor cost is pretty cheap. US we used to pay $135 a day to the worker in a DC somewhere in Savannah, Georgia, right? Whereas in India, we pay 15,000, 18,000 kind of money to a worker for a month revenue. So whatever digitalization we are looking in the end, the ROI should be there. There are some products which are what I say, perishable product or, shelf life is very important there, utilization definitely helps. But yeah, in a regular product with a, so cosmetic products are typically 2 years, 3 years kind of shelf life. When somebody is looking at automation, needs to be done with a caution in terms of the, investment versus outputs. So, there are my opening thoughts.
Thanks, Manoj. In fact, we had this sideline discussion earlier, and to his contrarian view was my contrarian view that I am doing supply chain of fruits and vegetables, and which is perishable. So while you are telling as cost of labor as one of the parameter, I am saying that there is a cost of quality, the cost of timely deliveryness, for which the technology plays an important role. And to Manoj's point, I think it's matter of time that the manpower cost in India is also growing up. If you see the rate of growth of manpower cost in India is almost 6 times more than the rate of growth of manpower cost in US. While we are talking of absolute cost, we need to also see that how it's growing, and a matter of time when we will be also requiring those technologies. So, but your your views hold good right now as we see it. At the same time, the transparency is expected in many sectors, and in that your blockchain, the RFID technology, the barcode labelings, all that thing will be useful. Today when we have our kids going to day schools or boarding schools, what vegetables they are eating, I don't think that, no, we have just, it's Ram Bharose, right? But if you have to look at it's the digitization which will give us a confidence that what we are having is right and where it has come from. Anyway, let's move on, and Madhavanand, your initial thoughts, please.
Thank you. No, I had a friend, and she was very interested in watching Crime Patrol. And she used to only watch Crime Patrol, very excited. Once I asked her that, what is the one lesson you learned from Crime Patrol? And she's like, if you have to do crime, don't carry your cell phone on you. Because it can be tracked. It can be tracked offline as well. So you have a GPS in your pocket, you can be tracked. So why can't we imply that for the supply chain movement? And when I spoke with one of the supply chain innovators, he said, yeah, we should have GPS in all our trucks. There are so many trucks idling on the roadsides on the countryside, and there are so many delays. I mean, if you have a GPS on all your moving assets, you can actually track where your cargo is at that particular point in time, and you can exercise a little bit of control as well as to how your cargo is moved if you are the owner, so that the liability actually falls on you, so you can ensure that your cargo is moving point to point in good time. Now, there was this, so I worked with the port of Antwerp, and they were upgrading their warehouses. This was in the year 2008 when they were talking about 5G. I was in the Naval Dockyard, Mumbai. They reached out to me through the channels, of course, and so they asked me if you could help us because I had just studied with one of the professors in IIT. So I worked with them for 2 years, and they were upgrading complete infrastructure to the 5Gs. That was long back. And to tell you, 5G's underlying technology is something called as MIMO. That is MIMO, multiple input, multiple output, which is completely transformative and non-comparable with the 4Gs and others, or LTE or anything else. This is line of sight, requires a lot of sensors all around, a lot of transceivers in near real visible length. So that was the time, and this technology, MIMO, the father of this technology is an Indian Navy officer, Professor Paul Raj, who is now a professor with the University of Stanford, and who was the professor with IIT Delhi, and he did his project from there. This MIMO was developed back in 2002. This concept, if you read about him, you'll understand. And the complete warehousing spectrum is now being changed with 5G. So 5G is the underlying technology, of course, from MIMO, and then from 5G you build on the IoTs. And as I told you, there are like billions of IoT sensors, which is making this complete, bringing in the autonomous functioning of your warehouses and inventory management as well. And when I was in the Ministry of External Affairs, we had a bilateral agreement with the state of Oman, with the Sultanate of Oman also, and they were interested in buying our NLP. They said, we want to do an arrangement with you where we get this technology, the APIs we can interface, so that we can track all cargoes, including the import and the exports also, and through the countryside, wherever it is moving. So that is the kind of acceptance with the international community is having for our portals, which are being built in India, like National Logistics Portal. And there, exactly, if you have this kind of RFID tags on our cargoes, all the shipments are being tracked, so you can collectively understand how the cargo is moving in India. from end to end, in fact. And of course, we all understand the multimodal connectivity is poor right now. That's why the cost of logistics is high. The ultimate efficiency is bringing down the cost and improving the efficiency. That's where the whole efficient, agile, and what we call the resilient supply chain the structure would basically pitch in. So that would be my opening thoughts.
थैंक्स नंदिश जी, आपके इनिशियल विचार इस टॉपिक पे, और क्योंकि आप इस रोल से पहले रेलवे में भी थे, जहाँ पे एक पहले वाले स्लाइड में हमने देखा 30% कार्गो वहाँ से मूव होती है, और आप वहाँ से आए और इस रोल में हैं, तो आपका एक ओवरव्यू 2 ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम पे है, 2 ट्रांसपोर्ट चैनल पे है, जो कि सप्लाई चेन का रीढ़ का हड्डी बनने वाला है। और जैसा हमने सुना कि इससे पहले कि अगर हम ग्रीन सस्टेनेबिलिटी, कार्बन प्रिंट पॉइंट्स, ये सब जो फ्यूचरिस्टिक चीज़ें हैं, जिसमें कि शायद कंट्रीज भी करेंसी में होंगे, जैसे कि आज हमारे लीवरेज होते हैं अंडरलाइन गोल्ड पे, वैसे कंट्री के करेंसीज में भी शायद इफेक्ट आवे इनका जो हमारे ग्रीन सस्टेनेबिलिटी मेथड्स हैं। और ये सब जब होगा तो रेलवे भी एक बहुत बड़ा जरिया होगा जिससे सप्लाई चेन में भी और शिपिंग में भी बहुत सारा इंटरनेशनल जो ट्रांसपोर्ट होता है वो चलता है। और कब हम सिंगापुर के आसपास या आगे पहुँचेंगे, और विद इन इंडिया में रेलवेज का क्या रोल रहेगा फ्यूचर में, कैसा वो उसमें ज़्यादा सप्लाई चेन का एडवेंट हो।
धन्यवाद। पहले तो मैं जानना चाहूँगा कि हिंदी अभी भी जिंदाबाद है। ऐसा था, आई कैन स्पीक इन इंग्लिश, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम ऑन माय पार्ट। द ओनली थिंग इज आई प्रेफर टू स्पीक इन इंग्लिश इफ द ऑडियंस विल सपोर्ट। सो हिंदी से थोड़ा सा फैमिलियरिटी रहती है और लगता है कि मैं अपनी बात कर।
सर आपको तो वही लगता है कि
तो देखिए ऐसा है, आपने मुझे कहा, मैं उस पर आता हूँ। मैं कुछ सोच रखा था आपसे शेयर करने के लिए, कहानी सुनाने के लिए। मैं वेयर हाउस खुद मैनेज नहीं करता, मैं बोर्ड में डिप्टी चेयरमैन हूँ, उपाध्यक्ष हूँ, और उस नाते मैं इकोसिस्टम को देखता हूँ। जो एक लंबा चौड़ा कांडला इकोसिस्टम है, उसको मैं देखता हूँ और समझने की कोशिश करता हूँ। पिछले साल अगर आपको याद हो तो एक वीट बूम आया था। पिछले साल भारत ने काफ़ी वीट एक्सपोर्ट किया था, टू बी प्रिसाइज 12 मिलियन टन एक्सपोर्ट किया था। उसमें से 8 मिलियन टन केवल कांडला पोर्ट से। और कई देशों के प्रतिनिधि मंडल आए थे और बैठे थे हम लोगों के साथ। और चूंकि वैश्विक स्थिति ऐसी हो गई थी कि रूस यूक्रेन वॉर था, यूक्रेन आपको पता है अनाज की सबसे बड़ी मंडी है, और वो बंद हो गया था बिकॉज ब्लैक सी में रशिया का एग्रेशन था। तो इसलिए क्या था कि कई देश दाने दाने को मोहताज थे, मतलब और कोई शब्द नहीं है इसके लिए। और वो भारत आए थे और भारत से उन्होंने वीट की डिमांड किया था, जिसको हम लोगों ने राइट अप टू द मंथ ऑफ अक्टूबर नवंबर ऑनर किया था। तो 12 मिलियन टन केवल 6 महीनों में एक्सपोर्ट हुआ, उसमें से 8 मिलियन कांडला से। अब ये कांडला इसके लिए तैयार नहीं था। हम लोगों के पास जो वेयर हाउस थे वो गिनती के थे, लेकिन गांधीधाम और कांडला में एक बहुत बड़ा वेयर हाउसिंग कॉम्प्लेक्स है, कई लाख स्क्वायर फीट का है, कई मिलियंस स्क्वायर फीट है, और काफ़ी अच्छा है। और जनरली हम लोग बड़े सेल्फ कंटेंट लोग होते हैं, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, जब तक अपना काम चल रहा है तब तक हम दूसरा ज़्यादा देखते नहीं। लेकिन पिछले साल क्या हुआ कि हमारे गोडाउन तो भर गए तुरंत, और ये हमें लेना था क्योंकि ये तो भारत का दूसरे देशों के साथ रिलेशनशिप्स का भी मामला था, सवाल, तो हमें लेना था किसी तरह से। तो फिर गांधीधाम और कांडला के आसपास के सारे गोडाउन भरने शुरू हुए, और तब हमको उसमें इंटरेस्ट आया कि हम देखें कि वेयर हाउसिंग कैसे की जाती है, खासतौर पर एक ऐसी चीज़ की जो पेरिशेबल मीट, जिसको आप ऐसे स्टोर नहीं कर सकते जैसे कोयला। हमने देखा कि कोई सिस्टम नहीं, मतलब हम लोग तो ठीक है, मैंने अब कहा भी, माना भी आपसे कि हम लोग पीछे हैं, लेकिन प्राइवेट सेक्टर में बहुत आगे नहीं थे। हम लोगों ने जानने की चाहा कि कैसे आप करते हो, क्या सिस्टम है, फोरकास्टिंग मॉडल क्या है, जैसे जहाज जा रहा है तो कितनी जगह किस वेयर हाउस में खाली होगी। क्योंकि हालत ये हो गई थी कि कांडला से गांधीधाम से श्यामा किले के बीच में 4000 ट्रक खड़े हुए थे, जो कि सड़क पर खड़े हुए थे, और जिनके लिए पुलिस वगैरह सब इंटरेस्टेड हो गए थे कि किसी तरह से अंदर है। तो मैंने देखा कि नहीं है सिस्टम, और ऐसा नहीं है कि उनको जरूरत नहीं लगती है, मैं उस सिस्टम से भी आया हूं जहां मैंने देखा है बहुत सारे लोग नहीं चाहते कि आईटी इनिशिएटिव सक्सेसफुल। एक इकोसिस्टम्स बने हुए हैं। हम लोग यहाँ पे बात करते हैं कि आईटी से क्या फायदा है। मैंने भी अपने यहाँ पे बोला कि आईटी से फायदा, मैं मानता हूँ, मैं पुश कर रहा हूँ। गांधीधाम में और कांडला में हमने बहुत पुश किया है, लेकिन मैंने देखा है कि कदम कदम लोगों ने इस बात पर रेजिस्टेंस लाया है कि आईटी आने से कई कुटीर उद्योग, और कोई शब्द नहीं है मेरे पास, कई कुटीर उद्योग बंद हो जाते हैं और बहुत सारी एक सिस्टम है जो उस पर चलता है। आप अभी मानवीय सिंह जी ने कहा कि जैसे हमारी जेब में एक फोन है जो कि चलता फिरता है, जीपीएस है, हम उसका इस्तेमाल क्यों नहीं करते, हम ट्रैकिंग में क्यों नहीं करते। हम लोगों ने, मैं आपको बताऊं, कांडा पोर्ट पर हमने आरएफआईडी सिस्टम लागू किया। नहीं था हमारे पास, एक ऑटोमेशन के रजिस्टर थे, रजिस्टर से गाड़ी घुसती थी, रजिस्टर से बाहर निकलती थी, क्या लेके आया क्या लेके नहीं गया। मैं काफी फ्रेंकली कह रहा हूँ, नहीं मानूंगा। हम लोगों ने उसको एक आरएफआईडी सिस्टम अभी इम्प्लीमेंट किया, लेकिन वो 1 साल करने में हमें पसीना आ गया। मैंने 5 स्ट्राइक चाहिए, 5 बार पोर्ट का काम बंद। हम लोग कहते थे आपको फायदा होगा, आप जीपीएस लगाइए ना ट्रक से, आपको भी पता चलेगा आपका ट्रक कहाँ चल रहा है। तो बोलते थे साहब हमें नहीं पता करना हमारा ट्रक कहाँ चल रहा है। देखिए, ये मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि ये चीज आप लोगों को, हम लोगों को दिमाग में रखनी पड़ेगी कि while there is a lot of momentum in the forward direction, but there is also a resistance, उसकी हम लोग बात नहीं करते। सेकंड एक केस मैं आपको बताता हूँ, ये है नेशनल लॉजिस्टिक पोर्टल मरीन, ये बन रहा है। इसका हम लोगों ने, मतलब इसका जो प्रधानमंत्री जी के कमलों से इसका हम लोगों ने लॉन्च भी किया, लेकिन इसमें अभी कई स्टेक होल्डर्स अभी भी जुड़ रहे हैं। तो चूंकि मैं रेलवे का हूं तो मुझे कहा गया कि आपको एक टीम का हम हेड बनाते हैं और वो वॉइस को इंटीग्रेट करने के लिए। तो इसमें काफी मैं इन्वॉल्व हूँ। हम लोगों का डेली बेसिस पे या वीकली बेसिस पे, डेली वीकली या हफ्ते में 2 बार बीसी हो जाता है लोगों से, अलग अलग स्टेक होल्डर से। वहां पे भी मैं देख रहा हूँ कि लोगों को जुड़ने में तकलीफ है, और वहां पे कुछ कंसर्न्स वैलिड है, जैसे डेटा प्रिवेसी। आप जैसे कहते हैं कि अगर आप एक पोर्टल बनाएंगे जिसमें सबको सब कुछ सब जगह दिखेगा, तो व्हाट अबाउट बिजनेस सीक्रेट्स, व्हाट अबाउट प्रोफेशनल इंफॉर्मेशन, इसको हमने कैसे कैटर किया। मतलब एक जेन्युइन कंसर्न्स है। एक इंडस्ट्री ग्रुप जिसकी कंपनी एक पोर्टल बनाती है, तो दूसरा इंडस्ट्री ग्रुप कहता है कि मैं उससे डेटा शेयर क्यों करूं, और इसका जवाब हमारे पास होना चाहिए। अगर हमारे पास इसका जवाब नहीं है या सेटिस्फैक्टरी जवाब नहीं, ईमानदार जवाब नहीं, तो हमें कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए। लेकिन हमको ये भी देखना है कि हमारे पास एक ऐसा सिस्टम हो जो पूरा कैटर करे, जो हमें कम से कम पता तो चले कि जहाज कहाँ पर है और ट्रेन कहाँ पर है। क्योंकि नेशनल पोर्टल, लॉजिस्टिक पोर्टल मरीन क्या करेगा, वो सबको साथ लाएगा, रेलवे को साथ लाएगा, कस्टम्स को साथ लाएगा, पोर्ट्स को साथ लाएगा, शिपिंग लाइंस को साथ लाएगा, और हम देख सकते हैं कि कब जहाज आएगा, कब पोर्ट पे लगेगा, कब ट्रेन खड़ी मिलेगी, कहाँ पे जाएगा, और यू कैन प्लान दैट मूवमेंट। So that will be economical, that will have efficiency gains, yes, that will have pollution control measures, yes, all of that will be there, but whether you are taking care of data privacy concerns, so that I am trying to do. The third thing जो मैं रेलवे से सीखा है और जो मैंने यहाँ पे भी सीखा है कि वेयर हाउसिंग इज ए निग्लेक्टेड पार्ट ऑफ द। अभी भी आप देखिए कि अभी तक अखबारों में आता था, और दिस इज ट्रू आल्सो, कि लॉट ऑफ क्रेन्स रॉट because there are not adequate warehousing. Even if there is warehousing, there is not enough recognition of the psychosanitary norms which we have to follow while keeping the footprints. Somebody told that a lot of things are not actually fit to consume. तो वो नहीं है, वो रेलवे में भी नहीं। रेलवे एक्चुअली ट्रांसपोर्ट्स अ लॉट ऑफ मीट, लॉट ऑफ राइस। आई यूज्ड टू डू दैट। आई वाज द डिप्टी चीफ ऑपरेशंस मैनेजर, आई यूज्ड टू लुक आफ्टर द एंटायर वेस्टर्न इंडिया। यहाँ पे काफी लोडिंग होता है, आपका अनाज का भी होता है और राइस आता है पंजाब की तरफ से, लेकिन हम लोगों ने भी उस पर ध्यान नहीं दिया एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। लेकिन हमको देने की जरूरत है, तो रेलवे इज नाउ ट्राइंग टू टर्न द कॉर्नर। वी आर ऑल्सो ट्राइंग टू टर्न द कॉर्नर। आपको बता दूं, कांडला में पिछले 2 साल में हम लोगों ने करीब 3 फुल रेक लेंथ गोडाउन्स कमीशन कराए हैं। 7 मोर विल बी डन। मतलब हम लोग वी आर ट्राइंग टू create capacity like a phoenix. The port is trying to generate storage capacity or trying to generate warehousing capacity, but with lot of needs to be done. हम लोगों ने बाहर भी गोडाउन्स के लिए स्पेस हायर किया है। So these things, मतलब डिजिटल गोडाउन्स is one part. First, the physical godown state that also are lacking in vital. So this is quite a lot of them, but
I think it's very interesting. These are all like practical discussion happening instead of textbook theory. And to enhance your point and the initial point which I had made, so you'll be surprised to know that again when you come to privacy breach, you go to any international banks and talk to them on data privacy breach. Okay, that's a big thing which they have been handling for 20 years. It'll be also interesting to know that we have teams within the bank which we call as toxic mix. मतलब अगर मैं सहजता से समझा दूँ तो if पेमेंट जो टीम करती है वो सेटलमेंट नहीं करेगी और पेमेंट सेटलमेंट जो करती है वो रिकॉन्सिलेशन नहीं करेगी, तो ये टीम को ऐसा बिठाया जाता है कि इनके आपस में भी डेटा इन लोग शेयर नहीं कर सकते। तो ये जो सिस्टम है, मैं फिर से बोल रहा हूँ कि वॉट एवर वी हैव बीन डूइंग फॉर मेनी ईयर्स, इंस्टेड ऑफ री इन्वेंटिंग द व्हील, इफ यू गो टू द राइट इंडस्ट्री विच हैज बीन अडॉप्टिंग, इंस्टेड ऑफ जैसा आप बोले कि हर चीज़ में माइक्रो लेवल में जाने से ना दिखेगा नहीं, जब आप ऊपर से सब कुछ देख रहे हैं, दैट इज द टाइम व्हेन यू आर गेटिंग अ व्यू। एंड व्हाट आई एम अर्जिंग यू इज दैट इफ यू गो टू these huge banks who have been working in different countries, and I'll give you another anecdote on this. ये एक रूल है यूएस में, फेड गवर्नमेंट का रूल है इन मेनी स्टेट्स, जहाँ पे कि फॉर योर क्रेडिट कार्ड स्टेटमेंट, इफ आई हैव गिवन ए कॉल फॉर कलेक्शन वेर यू डिफॉल्टेड, if your spouse has lifted the call, I cannot tell you the purpose of the call also. All you have to tell is that this is Chitranjan Mohanty and this is a business call. Are you understanding what level we are talking of privacy breach? Even your spouse will not know that there is a credit card collection call which has come. So to that level it has been happening for last 20-25 years. All we need to know is that what elements we can take and put it in supply chain. See, that's movement of any information, right? And here also we are talking of movement of information and protecting that. That's very very interesting. And we think that the arbitration and all that things will go into this domain. All cybercrime you're listening in banking and finances and all that. In due course of time, you'll see that as international supply chain moves, there will be different laws, like there are different laws in Geneva Convention, in London, even in banking. And I think that's what Madhavanand also spoke, and that's going to happen. Now coming to you, sir, Mr. Bamnawat, from a customs point of view, sir, what are your initial views on advent of digitization into supply chain?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm Additional Commissioner Customs, Canada, जब आप सप्लाई चेन की बात करते हैं तो उसमें मेन चीज़ है गुड्स का मूवमेंट होता है। तो गुड्स अब ये इस तरह का सिस्टम है, इतना ज़्यादा चीज़ें होती हैं साथ ही आप बल्क में चीज़ें मंगाते हैं तो उनको क्लियरेंस ना होना, कस्टम का पुराना सिस्टम याद कीजिए जब मैनुअल चीज़ें होती थी, कितना टाइम कंज्यूमिंग था, तो उसी को फास्ट करने का जो सारा सिस्टम है वो ये सप्लाई चेन उससे कनेक्टेड है पूरी तरीके से। तो वेयर हाउसिंग एक बहुत मेजर इसमें रोल प्ले करता है और कांडला वेयर हाउसेस के लिए जाना जाता है। अभी आपको सप्लाई चेन बताया, कांडला में 80 से ज़्यादा वेयर हाउस हैं और उनमें पब्लिक वेयर हाउस भी हैं, प्राइवेट भी हैं और स्पेशल वेयर हाउस भी हैं लीगल टाइप के। और लेकिन फिर भी जो लास्ट ईयर सिचुएशन आई थी उसको इतने सारे वेयर हाउस होकर भी संभाल नहीं पाए थे क्योंकि वो उसके लिए तैयार नहीं थे। और मैं उस टाइम यहाँ अहमदाबाद से उसी टाइम में ट्रांसफर मेरा हुआ था, तो एक फिर उसके बाद में फिर राइस पे भी ड्यूटी आ गई, कुछ रेस्ट्रिक्शन कर गए, तब भी सेम सिचुएशन आई, हजारों ट्रक्स रोड पे खड़े हैं और कुछ पोर्ट के अंदर चले गए। अब एक कंसाइनमेंट में हजारों टन माल होता है, तो कुछ आधा चला गया रोड में, कुछ नहीं आया, फिर मिनिस्ट्री वहाँ से ऊपर से नीचे तक अलाउ कीजिए, लिटिगेशन बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं। तो वेयर हाउसिंग कस्टम कांडला के लिए इतना इम्पोर्टेंट है कि मुझे लगता है कि और कई जगह जैसे आपने बताया कि 12 लाख में से 8 लाख कहीं से कांडला जगह, कांडला एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स को एक्सपोर्ट के लिए जाना जाता है। ये वेस्टर्न साइड में मेजर पोर्ट इंडिया का वॉल्यूम वाइज नंबर 1 पोर्ट है। तो कस्टम कांडला इसके लिए पूरा एफर्ट करता है कि टाइमली क्लियरेंस हो। इसके लिए हमारे एक स्पेशल सेक्शन है, बॉन्ड सेक्शन, जिसमें 3 से 4 स्टूडेंट रहते हैं और इंस्पेक्टर और एक डेडिकेटेड स्टूडेंट होता है। तो हम प्रयास करते हैं कि किसी को डिले नहीं हो। और अभी तो कितनी सारी स्कीम्स आ गई हैं वेयर हाउसिंग में, जो चीज़ों को और इजी बना रही हैं। जैसे एक है मूवर्स स्कीम, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड अदर ऑपरेशंस इन वेयर हाउसिंग। तो आप जो ट्रेड के जो फ्रेंड्स हैं, ये इन चीज़ों को समझ सकते हैं, उनका फायदा उठा सकते हैं, और कस्टम आपके लिए हमेशा इसके लिए अवेलेबल है, तैयार है। और भी सारी स्कीम्स हैं जो वेयर हाउस से बहुत ही ज़्यादा फैसिलिटेट कर दिया चीज़ों को। आप मूवर्स में आप 1 साल के कितना कुछ में रखिए, कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, आपको कुछ टाइम लिमिट नहीं है। अगर आप उसको एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं तो उसमें प्रोसेस वगैरह करके, अगर आप डोमेस्टिक में ले जा रहे हैं ठीक है, तो इसमें इंटरेस्ट नहीं लगेगा। डोमेस्टिक में आप ले जाएंगे तो भी आपको इंटरेस्ट नहीं देना होगा, तो काफ़ी प्रॉफिट है और आपकी सप्लाई चेन में इस तरह का फैसिलिटेट करता है। बाकी और भी सारी चीज़ें हैं, और कुछ आपका क्यूरी है तो मैं आपको जवाब दे सकता हूँ।
मिस्टर बंगनावट, यहाँ पे बहुत सारे हमारे मित्र हैं जो सप्लाई चेन में हैं, जो एक्सपोर्ट्स में हैं, जो कस्टम्स के रूल हैं और जो कस्टम्स डिपार्टमेंट के अटेम्प्ट्स हैं कि सब चीज़ को सरल किया जाए, तो उसका जो कम्युनिकेशन है, जैसे कि अगर कोई किसी के पास भी अगर कोई एक्सपोर्ट्स में है तो उसके पास एग्जिम में एक नंबर होता है, लाइसेंस होता है, ठीक है ना, तो एक नंबर होता है, यूनिक है, और उसका सारा केवाईसी आपके पास अवेलेबल है। उस तरह से जो सप्लाई चेन में है, दोज हु आर देयर, they have got their entity known, right? And I'm sure you have got your portal and all that. My thing is that on the dissemination of information and the ease of business, like traditionally and conventionally, customs is a department where a person goes, like there is some issue, right? I mean, like there's a mindset which is there, which is like that. But now it's friendly, it's making things simpler. But what about the communication and dissemination of information, that it reaches out to all entrepreneurs, all business people, and especially where you have got the information? How is it that you are pointedly sending out information to those relevant target group?
एक्चुअली आप पर्टिकुलर कमिश्नरेट की वेबसाइट पे जा सकते हैं। अब तो हर कमिश्नरेट का ट्विटर हैंडल होता है, अभी एक्स जिसको बोलते हैं, और इसके अलावा जो उस पर क्रेडिट नंबर भी होता है वेबसाइट पे, तो आप कॉल भी कर सकते हैं इवन कमिश्नर को, एडिशनल कमिश्नर को।
सर, ये आउटसाइडिंग वाला बात है, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपके यहाँ से कैसे डिसमिनेट होता है? हाउ आर योर प्लान्स टू डिसमिनेट इनसाइड आउट? मतलब क्योंकि देखिए, आप यू आर द फर्स्ट व्यू ऑफ व्हाट चेंजेस आर हैपनिंग, और आप लोग कितना मेहनत करते हैं एक चीज़ को चेंज करने में, राइट? लेकिन जब तक वो ग्राउंड पे इफेक्टिव ना हो, तो आपको अपना जो ऑल दैट एफर्ट दैट हैज गॉन इन, द फ्रुक्टिफिकेशन ऑफ दैट यू आर नॉट एबल टू सी. My thought is that are there any ways or any methods you follow that custom starts, like, see, at one point of time, I can tell that police, we used to avoid going to police stations, right? But now things are there where police goes out of the way to disseminate information, that how it is friendly, what are the rules, laws, what are the things, like that, like turnaround times, like say that any query on customs, in 35 minutes this so and so will reach out to you.
एक्चुअली हमारी मंथली मीटिंग होती रहती है सीएचएफ फ्रेटर्निटी के साथ में, शिपिंग लाइन, यहाँ पे सारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, ये मतलब हर दूसरे महीने मीटिंग होती रहती है। इवन पोर्ट अथॉरिटी में हम मीटिंग के बुलाते हैं, वहाँ पे हर लोग मिलते हैं, तो ये एक्सचेंज होता रहता है।
Yeah, thank you, excellent. and I am meandering to Mr. Shukla again. Is that sir? When you say that there are a lot of things which are conventionally there, okay, and I am a first-hand experience on that in terms of fruits and vegetables. Like I deal in say 120 fruits and vegetables, okay, uh, and each item, like tomato has its own cartel, onion has its own cartel. I mean, like, I don't know what's the better word I can use, but cartel is the word which I'm using to signify what. There's a way of business which is happening, and it cannot be changed or turned overnight. It cannot be bulldozed. It cannot be also, done an envelope bombing, right? So, like you said on that queue, what we do is that we try to create a microcosm of a method and logistic movement without affecting the current system. And once we are able to establish a better system, all others are able to see and come in the way. And I have a very classical way of explaining this to my ecosystem is that when we were young and we used to travel by train, there used to be those stubs. The ticket used to be a brown color stub ticket, right? और रिजर्वेशन वो ट्रेन के अंदर होती थी. तो तब क्या था, देयर वर लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर मेनी थिंग्स टू हैपन. लेकिन जब सेंट्रलाइज रिजर्वेशन सिस्टम आ गई तो क्या हुआ कि ऑटोमेटिकली थिंग्स चेंज. इंस्टेड ऑफ फाइटिंग मे बी एसोसिएशन ऑफ 1 lakh TTs, what we did was that create a small system and small process which is working and then digitize it and then all fall in. तो इस लाइन में आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या मतलब when we will reach there?
नहीं, देखिए मैंने जो कहा था वो बेसिकली मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि जब हम लोग जो जा रहे हैं वो बहुत सही तरीका है. मैंने केवल अब ये पॉइंट आउट किया था अपने ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स में कि देयर आर सिस्टम्स, लोग होंगे, देयर विल बी अ रेजिस्टेंस टू इट एंड दैट रेजिस्टेंस विल हैव इट्स ओन, मतलब उसका एक स्टेक होगा तो रहेगा. आपने जैसे कहा कार्टेल होता है या कोई एक सेंस एक बिजनेस होता है जो डोमिनेट होता है. देखिए इकोनॉमिक्स में एक बड़ा वो होता है बैरियर्स टू एंट्री या बैरियर्स टू मार्केट. जब हम लोग मार्केट को डिफाइन करते हैं तो मोनोपोली या डुओपोली या ओलिगोपोली या परफेक्ट कंपटीशन में क्या अंतर है. एक में मोनोपोली में देयर इज अ ह्यूज बैरियर टू एंट्री और परफेक्ट कंपटीशन में देयर इज नो बैरियर टू एंट्री. दैट इज द डिफरेंस. So now the a good aim of government and policy should be to bring down the barriers to entry. इसलिए इंफॉर्मेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट. मतलब मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि आप इस तरह से बनाइए अपने सिस्टम्स को कि people should not have added advantage because they are privy to certain market information. I am saying that we'll have to be wary about sharing their business information. There are two different things. One is that you control certain things by which you control the market, and one is that you control certain things by which you control your business. So while a person has every right to protect his business secrets, but he should not have that kind of information with him, which will prevent the entry of other players into that business, or prevent them from competing in a fair and transparent way. So it is like separating the wheat from the chaff. मतलब गेहूं को साफ करने जैसा है. हम लोगों को कॉल लेना पड़ेगा हर स्टेप पे कि ओके दिस इज हियर एंड दिस इज हियर.
Thank you. That was great. I would move to Manoj from a FMCG perspective, right? I mean, what changes you have seen in last maybe 3-4 years in terms of technology coming in and different advanced cloud technologies coming in, and how do you see future? Though I know you have a contrarian view, but I'd like to know that what are your views on that? How technology is going to take ahead this warehouse and material handling and all that.
So I think we are on a technology curve which is much more advanced, if I may say. So I heard someone talking of RFID tagging on each box, each consignment. Let me put it here, the simple thing. RFID is very costly technology. So for all our primary transportation, we have a simple mobile-based technology to what we say track and trace, where driver will, because the trucks are typically not owned by the transporter we engage. So truck drivers are there, but they have to put a SIM in that, and that is seamlessly, it is traced. The cost of SIM is 3.5 rupees, right? I mean, just to keep it, and then we have an end-to-end visibility. So from our transportation side, the entire process of indenting to transporter, something what we call as truck builder, that truck, what is a combination of goods that should go for an optimum utilization, track and trace, proof of delivery or GRN at CFS, that is completely automated, and we monitor religiously the adoption. So we are at around 80 to 85% of adoption as of now. We intend to go to 100%. We have also implemented, when I talk of digital, we have implemented IPP, that is integrated business planning, where demand planning and supply planning comes from the same platform. And there are model or whatever we want to term it, AI model, etc., built in the system which sees the past and predict the future. But again, the wisdom part of it comes into picture. So I think lot and lot technologies, of course, ERP and all, I mean, they are a long way, 20 years from now, creating the basic data. And then there are reports which are auto-generated. So in our companies, there are people who are generating reports in a certain fashion, right? So we are moving away from there, and all the reports are automatically generated. So my entire sales report, say, I mean, we work in a CFS KUI across, so we have a 24 CFS location where we bill to the 1,000 distributors or more. And then there are, say, 500 live SKUs. So I have a data point of 500 into 24, that's around 12,000 into, say, 1,000 multiplied by 1,000. So I think every day that all the sales data comes, and then automatically the report is generated at 12:05 in the night. So I think digital is a part of life, but we need to see, I mean, like गेहूं और छिलके को अलग करना है. So what kind of technology you are going to adopt, and what kind of business benefit it will give, because finally as a FMCG company, our motto is three, I mean, forward consumer delight. Affordability, so product should be affordable. Accessibility, so pin code across India, how many pin codes we serve, and availability. So at any point of time, we should be available. And I do have a contract view on warehouses, by the way. All the warehouses are in our parlor is waste. I mean, this looks radical, but the more inventory you keep in the business, the more you lock in your money. And we are in FMCG industry, fast moving goods, so our response should be faster. So we typically work less than 30 days of inventory for finished good, and we are trying to go to some 20 days levels. I mean, from 0 to 20 days I mean, I'll say retailer's end. So these are some of things, and of course, without digital, we cannot do anything. But I mean, you need warehouse when आपने बनाया, आपको जरूरत नहीं थी. Correct. Right? And you can create a number of buffer. I keep on hearing the wheat situation, but please understand, this is an outlier event or exceptional event. You can't build your system and the things for the outlier event. Otherwise, in the end, when that event is gone, we'll end up in having huge capacities or inefficient infra lines. So I think somewhere I will talk.
Yeah, I think that's why we told about planning and all that in his initial talk. Madhavendra, before we move to audience for questions, your thoughts on the discussion till now. And again, I have a repeat question for you, which I had for him, is that so much of things is happening in your capacities, right? Of having maritime cluster and India's sole global shipping hub. Uh, I come from Bangalore. I am from Orissa and born in Arunachal Pradesh. On all three places, I have not heard about this. So, I think that any good work which is happening should spread and spread fast and big. So, I have seen you taken some notes. So, your thoughts on the discussion till now and on my question, and then we go to audience for questions.
Thank you. So, okay, so picking up from what others have spoken, is one thing is monopoly is a problem. Technology is, in a way, we all accept this fact. I can't overemphasize this, has connected the world like anything. Now we have a visibility into what's happening in America today. 20 years back, I don't think we had that visibility. But you know what is the driving force behind technology? I even mentioned in my opening is, of course, it's an innate characteristic of a human being to be free. Free from monopoly, free from control, free from discrimination, free from injustice. So that is why the technology is the only way that we can actually bring in equality, bring in visibility, transparency, whatever is being done. And why then blockchain was built is again to get away from the control. The state entities control, or the monopolists control, or the middlemen's control, or the brokers control. So that's why few people got together, and then whenever the economic transactions or the monetary transactions are happening, they build blockchain. Blockchain is a result of the the currency transactions. In certain group wanted to do that. But what I'm talking about is decentralization. Decentralization of power, decentralization of your complete supply chain also. So those basically, internationally there are certain organizations which have been built only on blockchain. They're called as the DAOs, the decentralized autonomous organizations, which in fact we had an opportunity in India also to work on that, and we were talking about cryptocurrencies which were made illegal, the exchanges were brought down. We've now come with our own CBDCs, it's a digital currency that we're working on, but has to be governed by RBI. So when we talk about, somebody also mentioned about the Manhattan supply chain, it's a beautiful thing. Mr. Gunnarsson in Scotland, when he goes to buy the carton of milk in the morning, exactly knows which cow the milk is coming from in Uttar Pradesh. Not only that, he knows which day the milk was taken out, which shipping company has shipped this particular thing to which port, from which port it was delivered and picked up, and how much time it has taken to reach there. If it is 2 days old, he is not going to buy it. The person who is putting that milk carton on the shelf is also not going to buy it if it is later than 2 days. So that's the kind of visibility in the blockchain concept, because he trusts the blockchain. He goes to the carton, he picks up his phone, he just scans the code, he knows exactly all the details, and he picks it up. So that is the level that we are actually talking about. It sounds so simple. And you know what is the ultimate sophistication? The simplicity. It's very easy to sound sophisticated and talk, big things, but to be simple, to explain a concept in simple terms is the most difficult part. So that is where, if you're making concept simple, the process is simple, is ultimate test of the technology. That is where we have to move in. Just 2 things I want to talk about to you before I actually hand over. Of course, somebody was talking about the green carbon exchange or the carbon reporting part of it, which actually leads to the green shipping. It's a mandate that the government has adopted. We have to comply with it. The sulfur regulations have changed the shipping industry big time. And now, as we go ahead, like I spoke, that we are still not sure that what is going to be the fuel of the future. So there is a big instability in the market with respect to the future, the ship orders, and that is why it is creating an imbalance of volatility in the supply and demand across the globe. And of course, the geopolitical instabilities is also creating a lot of shift in the market. So, but we were speaking with the European Union on this. India has certain protocols which the corporates have to basically follow, but there are only 13 big corporates in India which are actually doing carbon reporting. Which is or not is, honest is not sure, because we don't have a platform. So we are wanting to create a digital platform where honest carbon reporting can be done by way of creating a green registry. And then also that we can integrate with the global standards for carbon credit exchange also. So recently also government has had roundtables about discussing the basics, what kind of a framework is required to have that kind of a green registry, which will also have a carbon credit exchange program. And now, last thing that I want to emphasize on, we're still hearing about it, but this is very, very transformative in nature. It has the power to change our lives in a very, very substantial manner. Whenever I speak to stakeholders, first thing is why India is a poor choice to do business. Is the difficulty to enforce your rights. And it also comes from the judiciary's, state. If you have a small problem in your businesses, you don't want your business to round up or get into insolvency every time, because your cash flows are stopped. And once you are knocking on the doors of the courts and waiting for 10 years, I don't think any business can survive. So that is why globally they came up with the alternate dispute resolution, at least where the commercial matters are concerned. The commercial men know what they're doing. They're adults, they've got into a contract. If you're not an adult, you can't get into a contract. It's a contract null and void ab initio. But if you got into a contract, you have to trust the commercial men that they know what they're doing, how they want the contract to go ahead. And also, They know how they want to resolve the disputes. But unfortunately, we have adopted the ADR in a lateral way from international markets. And that is why the legal practitioners of the litigation has got into the litigative style of doing arbitration. But it's a beautiful concept. We must all, commercial men must know about arbitration or the ADR, the alternate dispute resolutions. You know, the whole spectrum is changing on three factors if you compare the intent, knowledge and power. Intent to change, knowledge to change and power to change. And when you come back to the stakeholders, you will realize that basically the dichotomy is here. The persons who have the maximum knowledge and power don't have the intent to change. And the people who have the maximum intent and knowledge to change don't have the power to change. That's where the whole world is actually lying between the balances. If the parties who are doing businesses understand and don't rely on the lawyers and the judge counsels, but understand about dispute resolution themselves, and they can dictate the terms, I'm telling you, it's going to be a beautiful and happy world for all of us. We quickly resolve a dispute in 6 months, we have an award, enforce it, continue to do your business, cash flows are online. It's a win-win game for everyone. So that's the only thing that I would like to state.
Madhav, thanks. You'll be surprised to know like two things you mentioned. So our aspiration is that India become the first country where we are going to have all the fruits and vegetables with the thing which Mr. Scott is having there. Mr. Bharat will have it in India, that which vegetable is eating and what the kids are eating. And the second, you'll be surprised to know that we don't have lawyers contract. We are in a totally unorganized sector and we have arbitration contracts. Okay, that saves a lot of time. Now we open to the audience for questions. I hope the discussion was worthwhile, worth each one of your time. Any questions?
Yeah, so I would like to thank Abhishek Sahu. We were in contact through LinkedIn. So I will start with thanks for giving me the opportunity to attend this event. Myself, Nilesh Sompura, I am from Gujarat only, and my background is 30 years in port and shipping. I have quite learned lots of things in cargo operation. I would like to have the views of the panels and the whole attendees, all these guests and all, about what will be your reaction and your views and feedback if we do, as Manoj Sahab also telling about phygital, that is physical plus digitalization. So here we are as a startup and as a myself founder, we are going to introduce a container, and that is a containerization plus digitalization. If both are working and going hand in hand, I think we can change the picture of the global supply chain and what we are calling as a smart supply chain. That will happen in reality. So containerization, that is a physical, and digitalization, everybody is now shouting and everybody is behind it. So I have the container if anybody allows me, ICC allows me, I have a container with me, a small model, how the physical things, containerization can bring the change in the supply chain. So, but before that, if you allow, then I can show that product also, and then their views and all of guest views, I would be very interested to know. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
What's the question? I mean, like I think we can have that in the break. Is there any specific question to the panel?
Yeah, about the containerization. And then digitalization, both the combination, what will be the views about the containerization of the cargoes? I think, Madhavendra Saab, I have met him also. Fortunately, this is the second meeting. I think he can throw the light more onto that.
No, completely regard your talent. You're bringing something which is disruptive, and it is really has a lot of meaning in it. So Mr. Sompura is building cubicle containers, but
hexagonal. Sorry, sir, hexagonal.
Hexagonal. I mean, from the top it looks like a cubicle kind of thing. Yeah, but it's a hexagonal container. The concept is that, of course, it will make handling of containers on ports pretty easy because it has a single point of lifting, and then the center of gravity is low, the stability is good, and then of course you can load more cargo because of course the honeycomb structure is the one that does not waste any space. So if you put your containers that way, the only challenge which I spoke to earlier also and which I see in the future is disrupting the supply chain where the containers have become a standard. And this is not only with respect to ships, but multimodal. Trains are built like that, and the trucks carry those containers, and the ships carry those containers, and everybody around the world is basically, it's very difficult to move out of that ecosystem. But the time can only tell us that some kind of prototypes or some kind of a first kind of contract if you have, or somebody who is willing to do it on a probably transshipment kind of a thing, or bringing into the port from a little distance away through the barges or something, probably that would also provide an opportunity to test your containers and see where the viability lies.
Great. I think that's a good advent. And any other question from the audience? No? Okay, then I think just... Oh, yeah, please.
Hi, hello. This is Sunil. I am Sunil from Air and Logistics Solutions, Morbi. My question to you, sir, as you mentioned about the cow milk, which was digitally, which you have said, is it possible in India, because जो country जो आप mention किए, अहमदाबाद से भी छोटा होगा वो, है ना? Practically, is it feasible in India, this kind of a technology or something?
So see, blockchain has got nothing to do with the size of the country, but you're very right. So even in my international interactions, people start to compare Germany with India, or France with India, or Scotland with India. India is the European Union. It's larger than the European Union. If you have to make any comparisons, it's like, and within European Union, you know how many problems are there, right? The France does not talk to Germany, the Spain has its own problem, Italy has its own. So similarly, we also have.
For that, I'll give you a good example, sir. 10 years back, सिंगापुर एयरपोर्ट में आईटी का इतना शानदार यूटिलाइजेशन हो रहा था उस समय, और वो सारी आईटी की यूटिलाइजेशन इंडिया से गई, बट प्रैक्टिकली इंडिया में उसका किसी प्रकार का कोई क्या बोलते हैं प्रेजेंस नहीं, बना हम रहे हैं, बट यूटिलाइजेशन अदर कंट्रीज में हो रहा है.
But that's a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take that. I know.
मानती जी, जय जगन्नाथ
जी, जय जगन्नाथ. जय श्री कृष्ण.
जय श्री कृष्ण.
अच्छा, ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं, पहला तो उन्होंने बोला कि एक टेक्नोलॉजी छोटा बड़ा से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, नंबर 1. लेकिन दूसरा आपने बोला कि सिंगापुर में जो होती है यहाँ पर नहीं होती. तो मेरा जो एक्सपीरियंस बोलता है वो ये है कि हम तो अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं आलू प्याज में, जो मिल्क से भी सस्ता प्रोडक्ट है. अगर आप एवरेज प्रोडक्ट ऑफ आलू प्याज देखें तो उसमें कितना मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट है कि उसको इतना फाइन ट्यून किया जाए, तो हम उसमें भी अटेम्प्ट ले रहे हैं और पॉसिबल है. तरीका अलग है, जैसा शुक्ला जी ने कहा कि पहले जो है कि सहजता से एक सिस्टम प्रोसेस बनाया जाए, जो कि एक छोटे से एनवायरमेंट है. ठीक है, सिंगापुर का जितना पॉपुलेशन है, क्या उतना इंडियन पॉपुलेशन को हम दूध पहुंचा सकते हैं? उतना ऐसा अगर उतना पहुंचाते हैं, उसका 3 गुना पहुंचा है, तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता बेनिफिट देखेंगे लोग, तो बाकी लोग भी आ रहे हैं.
आपको मैं 3 एग्जाम्पल बताता हूँ. इंडिया में ही हो रहा है सब कुछ, कारण बाहर वाले लोग रहे हैं, दूसरी बात है. I mean, you know that Apple does not have its manufacturing plant. They don't own their own manufacturing plant. So is Tesla also. The manufacturing is China, India, they're starting to manufacture now. You know, there's a person sitting in Japan. The tomatoes that go to Japan, imported to Japan, are imported from Haryana. And there's an entrepreneur sitting in Haryana. He has a 3-acre land where he's building these tomatoes, and everything is being done by him, sitting on his laptop. कितना उसमें फर्टिलाइजर जाएगा, किस टाइम में पानी कब पड़ना है, उसका टेम्परेचर कितना है, everything is controlled by him sitting there. The land is only leased by that farmer who's sitting there, and he's earning money from lease. Everybody. There's a prawn farming happening in Hyderabad. There is a German customer sitting in Germany and monitoring that. How much seeds have to go, how much of food has to go, how the temperatures have to be, water temperature. But you get a prompt. The CEO of that company who's in India, sitting in an aircraft, he gets a prompt. You know, the temperature is rising by half a degree. Immediately gets done. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so there is an ecosystem where Indian entrepreneurs are doing a lot of work. There are framework issues, and regulatory always catches up with the technology. That catch up.
There's no doubt in ability, sir.
Yeah, exactly. But
I
I understand.
Far better than anyone else in the world, but there's no doubt in ability, but practically is it feasible in
Yes,
India?
yes, very feasible, sir. What Madhavendra just told now about prawn, it's happening in a lot of small places in Odisha also. And let me tell you, this is not complicated. It's एक में आपकी क्या आइडिया हो IoT का जो आपने बोला है ये बोल रहे हैं कि टेम्परेचर सैलिनिटी pH वैल्यू ये प्रॉन का मैं बोल रहा हूँ ठीक है ये सब IoT से इतना सिंपली हो सकता है और ज़्यादा लागत भी नहीं है what we are thinking in amount it's like it's like 5-6 crores and like decent 500 crore company can be totally on IoT where fields across the world anywhere you have all these parameters can be done by just a diode which again I'll be Chinese diode mein it will be 25 rupiya ka diode laga diya and it will give you all data 7 parameters it can give instantaneously and even the opening of the valves and all physically man does not go through IoT you can put that command and it will open the valve so water will go water goes salinity comes down pH value so similarly for playing with the pH value it is being done and like Madhura said it is the Hyderabad company is or the Nellore company is already showcasing it will be a matter of time when it will come very fast like a tsunami it's happening what we are seeing undercurrents lot of things are happening and it will come with a big force because India can create tsunami of any technology. If a small technology is working in a small country like Israel or Singapore, it can happen here.
The majority view is now emerging as if blockchain is a panacea to all our problems. Counterintuitively, blockchain is a system of distrust. Because if you have a trust in a system, you don't need blockchain. The blockchain is only needed if you can't trust the person who's invisible to you. So that's where the blockchain comes in. So if you have to basically, small businesses can also, don't really need blockchain all the time, but you need to have a digital system where you, of course, trust the other person, but everything is basically automated and let the technology play the game because not all of us can understand everything that is happening in our systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bamnawat, Mr. Shukla, Madhavendra, and Mr. Kothari for this enlightening discussion, and thanks to all of you for having patience to listen to us, and hope it was of some help and value. And we are not going to stand anymore between you and the lunch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you to all the panelists for this wonderful discussion. So now, please, I will invite Jaya Arya, the founder, chairman, member of Indian Chamber of Commerce, Gujarat, to give a little token of appreciation to Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty ji, the founder of Samvi Hi-Fetch Fresh Foods Private Limited. Mr. Madhavendra Singh, Mr. Chitranjan Mohanty, Mr. D.P. Bamanwad, IRS Additional Commissioner, Kandla Customs, I will call on Mr. Rajendra Ji Nagarji come on the stage to facilitate the small token of appreciation to Mr. Manoj Kothari, Head Supply Chain, Zydus Wellness. Thank you so much, Jaya ji. I will call upon Mr. Bharat Gupta, the conveyor of ICC, to give a small token of appreciation to Mr. Nandish Shukla, the Deputy Chairman of Deen Dayal Port Authority. Mr. D.P. Bhamnawat, the IRS Additional Commissioner, Kandla Customs. The certificate is about the unique because The certificate is unique because on behalf of the panelists, we planted 5 trees in Simplifal National Park, Odisha, India. You can monitor the growth of these trees using the certificate number provided on the certificate. Additionally, this certificate is printed on environmentally friendly recycled paper. Thank you so much all the panelists for being wonderful on